Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my 18 and 19 week pregnancy update. I did not do an 18-week pregnancy update because I knew I was getting an ultrasound, so I didn't want to make that video and then have to make another one talking about my ultrasound separately, so I just figured I would wait and do both of them together. Before we jump into this update, go ahead and hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and hit the notification bell right next to it so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Now let's go ahead and get into my 18 and 19 week pregnancy update. So my pregnancy symptoms have been pretty much the same the past few weeks. So I'm still having nausea here and there. Every few days I will have a little bit of nausea, and I'm also still pretty emotional. I noticed that I'm just really quick to cry at things, whether it be happy things or sad things or things that make me angry. I just cry a lot these days. One thing that is coming back, and it is getting stronger seems like every week, is the fact that I am super tired again, like almost to the point of being like I was in my first trimester, where I was super tired that it was making me dizzy and making it really nerve-wracking to drive places. I just feel like I need more sleep these days, so I'll go to bed at, around my normal time, so like 10:30 or 11 I'll go to bed. And then recently my husband has actually been getting the kids up and getting them dressed and getting Daniel off to school, and then whenever he comes back, then he will wake me up. So I'm getting an extra hour of sleep in the morning, and then from time to time, if I'm really lucky, Landon will take a nap after we take Cade to school, in between taking him to school and picking all of the kids back up. Sometimes I will get him to take a nap and then I can lay down with him and take a nap. Very rarely does that happen, but it is so nice when it does happen. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I did have an ultrasound at 18 weeks and 5 days. It says 18 weeks and 6 days here, which I'm not sure why. I'm thinking that my doctor's office and the perinatal center that I go to, the high-risk doctor to do all of my ultrasounds and stuff, they might have the different due dates. I'm not quite sure. But I did get an ultrasound, which is always super exciting. I love getting ultrasounds whenever I'm pregnant, just to see how much the baby is growing. Normally, you get one ultrasound when they are dating you, so like early on in pregnancy to let you know what your due date is, and then you'll get one more ultrasound for the anatomy scan, which is in between 18 and 21 weeks. At least that's how it's always been for me. I did have to have an extra one. Seems like I always have to have an extra one now that I'm thinking about it. With Daniel and with Cade, I had a low-lying placenta, so they had to bring me in at like 32 weeks just to make sure my placenta had moved up. And so I did get an extra one with that one. And then with Landon, he had an irregular heartbeat sometimes, and so my midwife sent me over to have them look at his heart. So seems like I pretty much always get an extra, like a third ultrasound, but I wasn't expecting it for this time. And I think the only reason why I am getting an extra one, which will be in about 12 weeks from now, but the only reason why I'm getting one is for a growth ultrasound, which the way she was wording it made me feel like we were doing that just because of Landon's PKU, which I don't know if she knows much about PKU. It is a genetic condition, but it doesn't affect their growth or anything, so I'm not quite sure why we're doing that, but I'm not going to argue, and I will be grateful for the pictures that I get at that scan. Also, I have never been able to get 3D ultrasounds of my babies. Normally, they are just too low down there, and so there's not enough fluid around their face to get a good face shot of the babies, like ever. We normally even pay for the 3D 4D ultrasound at an outside place around 16 weeks to find out the gender, and they still aren't able to get a good face shot of the baby. But they did this time, so I'm going to show you all of the pictures that we got. And this is not all the pictures. They sent me a lot more to my email. This is just the ones that they printed out for me. And you will see there is quite a bit of hand and foot pictures just because those are Daniel's favorite. So I did request them to print out a few of the hands and the feet. Now again, I was only 18 weeks and 5 days, so the baby still kind of looks like a skeleton in these 3D ultrasounds, but they are still super cute. So there is a 3D of her face. Also, she is still a girl, and we are still not announcing what we are going to name her. There's another 3D of her face. And there was one more of her face that they sent me, and it just looked completely like a skeleton, but I didn't get a printout of that one. This one is of her little arm right there, and then her little hand. Excuse my nails, they look rough. I just don't like to go to the nail salon whenever I'm pregnant because I smell really strong, so I don't like to smell all the fumes. This is a profile of her face with her little cute upturned nose. You can see her head is right there. There's her ear, an eye, her nose, and her lips. And then this is her ribs. That is her little foot. We've got the toes over here. And she is still a girl. You can see the 3 little lines and then her little thigh bones. And actually, I love this picture because you can see just how chunky her legs are already, which is super cute. And there is another profile picture. There's her head right here, her little nose, and her lips. And then her body is off this way. So super cute. I love these pictures. Daniel is obsessed with bones, so he loves seeing these ultrasound pictures. I personally love those pictures because the last pictures that we did get was whenever I was like 7 weeks or 9 weeks, something along those lines, but she just barely had arms and legs at that point, so she's grown quite a bit. At the ultrasound, she had a heart rate of 165, which is crazy. It seems like my boys didn't have that fast of a heart rate, but I have always heard that girls have faster heart rates, so maybe that is true. I also do not have a low-lying placenta with this one. I thought with since my first and my second had the low-lying placenta with them, I felt like I was just always going to have that, which is actually pretty rare, but so is your water breaking, and my water always breaks. But I just thought that all of my pregnancies I was going to have a low-lying placenta, and this is now the second one with no low-lying placenta, so that is awesome. Again, she was super low down there. My cervix is perfectly fine. I'm not dilating or anything like that. She's just super low, which all of my kids are, like I already said, but she was so low, and she's facing out of my tummy, so she would be looking at you guys. And because of the placement, they couldn't really get all of the pictures of her head that they wanted to get, so they had to make me get up, and I walked around for a little bit and went potty, and we were eventually able to get all the pictures that we needed after a lot of pressing, which sucks. Also, she was weighing around 8 ounces, which I feel like on my app it said for 18 weeks your baby's supposed to weigh, I think it's about 6 ounces, almost 6 ounces, but then once you hit 19 weeks, which I almost was 19 weeks, it then changes to about 8 ounces. So she said that that was perfectly normal. The apps are normally wrong, but most 18, 19 week babies that she sees, they normally weigh in between 8 and 10 ounces, so she is perfect. They did find one small little calcification on her heart, and I cannot for the life of me remember which one of my kids also had that, but one of my other kids, it was either Cade or Landon, had 2 calcifications on their hearts. So I've already heard the whole spiel about it. It can be a genetic marker for Down syndrome or other issues, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there is something wrong. There was no other genetic markers, so they're not really worried about it. If I was worried about it, we could do an amniocentesis, which is where they stick a needle into your belly and draw out some amniotic fluid to see what is going on, and they can do a full DNA panel with that, I believe. And so with that, we could see if there's any genetic issues going on, but that is also very high risk, and if I needed to do that, I would definitely wait until after viability, which isn't until 24 weeks, but I'm not worried about it. Whatever is thrown our way, we will take it. I am not concerned enough about it that I feel like risking my child's life, so she is fine where she's at. 9 times out of 10, it does not mean anything, especially since there's no other genetic markers. The next thing, I lost 4 pounds. So my appointment before that was only like 3 weeks. It wasn't quite 3 weeks before this appointment. I think, and I now weigh 4 pounds less than I did at that appointment. So that's really neat. I've never lost weight in any of my pregnancies. I didn't gain weight in my first trimester with a few of them because I was so nauseous or couldn't eat, but I can't remember ever losing weight with any of my babies. But with this pregnancy, I am definitely overweight. This is the biggest that I've ever been in pregnancy, which is super uncomfortable, but it is nice that I am losing weight, and it is perfectly fine for me and the baby that I am losing weight because, like I said, I am overweight to begin with. So it's all fine. Moving on into the 19th week of pregnancy. First off, I am out of breath. I feel like some days I'm more winded than others. Today it's just one of those days. I feel really out of breath, and I feel like the bigger I get, the harder it is to catch my breath most of the time. So I feel like it's only going to get worse at this point. I am still feeling movements every day, which is great. So I felt her every day for over a week now because I was feeling her every day in the last update that I did. But her movements are still, I think I've mentioned this before, I feel like she is just sitting further back in my tummy. She's obviously not. At first I felt like she was towards my spine and up higher, which obviously that's not the case because she is super low. But I am wondering with that if I have my placenta on the outside, like on the outside of my tummy versus in the back or on the sides, just because when she does move, normally around this time I could start feeling her on the outside, but her movements are so gentle. Like, my boys were always rough. Of course, their movements weren't so like wow at the start because they were so tiny, but it seems like I'm 19 weeks now and she's still not as strong as they were. She's just very gentle in there. She makes little movements. Seems like she gets the hiccups almost every day at this point, sometimes twice a day. So she's moving a lot, but it's just very soft and it's just so different. So I am kind of wondering where the placement of my placenta is, which I did not ask at the ultrasound, but I'm sure she sent the report to my doctor and I will have an appointment this coming week, like maybe this week, if not the next week, and I will ask them if they got the report and if they can tell me where my placenta is at, because I'm curious. So I've mentioned before that my back did go out right before I got pregnant. So I've been dealing with a lot of back pain this pregnancy. It hasn't really gotten much better. I will have some weeks that are better than others, but now it's to the point where my hips are hurting. So I'm thinking that that part has something to do with pregnancy. I don't think that my back has something to do with pregnancy because, like I said, it's been going on since before I got pregnant, but the hip pain is definitely something that I do experience during pregnancy. So I don't think that that's just related to my back issues. It normally doesn't start bothering me until further on in my pregnancy, but this is baby number 4, so I'm just sure that it's just like everything else. That is just a part of pregnancy, and it's one of those things that's only going to get worse because my body's done this before. So it's like, yes, we know what we're doing. Let's go ahead and spread them hips. This week I am still super tired and emotional. Again, my husband lets me sleep in for an extra hour or so in the mornings, which is so wonderful. And I am having to drink coffee. I normally try to not drink coffee whenever I'm pregnant, but I've noticed with this pregnancy, I'm just so tired. So I have been drinking 1 cup of coffee or 1 coffee from Dunkin' just about every day this whole pregnancy. There are like some weeks where I'm fine without it, but that's very rare because I'm super tired. Also, I'm still breaking out like crazy. I'm getting some up here on my forehead. I get them in between my brows. I have a lot on my chin and jaw area. I think that that's just something that I'm gonna have to deal with for the whole pregnancy, which sucks. Like today we had my husband's like Christmas holiday party at his work, so I felt the need to put makeup on, and I hate wearing makeup when I'm breaking out. But this little girl is definitely worth it. We are getting so excited. We are halfway now. I am willing to bet we are halfway through this pregnancy. I've never made it to my due date. Seems like it has just flown by up until this point, and I can only imagine that the next 19 weeks is just gonna fly by just as fast. And then we will be a family of 6. which is crazy to think about. But that is all that I have for this update, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my 19-week and 2-day belly. So this is my belly at 19 weeks and 2 days from the side. She is getting quite large and taking up a lot of space in there. And this is my belly from the front and the other side. So that is all I have for this update. If you are pregnant, trying to conceive, or just had a baby, please let me know down below in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys and chatting about things. Also, before you leave, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel down below if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell right next to it so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.